Low versus high volume training. That's always the way I've been thinking. One or the other, not both. But about 1 year ago, 1.5, I began integrating more high volume training into my workout plan. And let me tell you, I wouldn't want to live without it today. And I would even say I've made more progress combining both. So in this video, I'll explain the method that you also can try it and see for yourself. But what even is the difference between low volume and high volume? Very simple. Low volume generally means that you do less sets and less reps. And high volume means you do more sets and often more reps. And both these come with their cons and pros. Because you're doing fewer sets and fewer reps on low volume, you have less sets, less time to break down your muscle. And that is why you gotta train harder. You gotta train close to failure to see good progress because you have less time. Some of the pros are that low volume training usually takes a little less time because you're doing less reps, less sets. But the biggest con is that because you're training that hard, if you have the wrong form, if you're doing the wrong form, it's really easy to injure yourself. It's a lot less forgiving than, for example, high volume training. Because if you have so many sets, you don't need to train as hard. And if you would train as hard, you wouldn't be able to do as many sets. So you gotta train a little hard, but not to absolute failure or very close to failure. But to conclude this, both freaking work amazing. So choose which one you like. Choose which one you can stick to. The method is, instead of choosing one or another, use low and high intensity training depending on what you like on the exercise you want to perform. For example, if you like bench pressing with fewer sets, fewer reps, but really like to train hard, grind them out, and you see progress with it, do that. Train low volume on bench press. But if you like high volume, you do a lot of reps with a lower weight to really feel the mind-muscle connection, really feel the burn on barbell rows, then freaking do that. I would say some muscle groups feel this a lot better and you see better progress when you train them really hard with just a few sets. And other muscle groups feel a lot better when you have a heck ton of sets, low rest, and a heck ton of reps. For example, forearm, traps, shoulders, calves. I just really need to do a lot of reps, short rest, and a lot of sets to really feel that burn, get that mind-muscle connection, to then being able to feel the muscle and then train hard, train to failure on the last few reps and sets. But for example, on bench press, where I feel my chest, or on dips, or on arms, doing a few sets with a good amount of reps just does the deal exactly as good, but it saves me some time. And when I've been doing these, when I've been switching up between low and high volume, I often use two different methods. The one is called rest pause training, and rest pause is very simple. You choose an exercise, for example, lateral raises, and you choose a weight where you can do 10 to 12 reps quite comfortable. It shouldn't be too hard, but it shouldn't be too easy either. And then you do one set, basically to failure, very close to failure. And when you've done that set, you put down a weight and take 15 to 20 seconds of rest. And then you pick up the weight again and you do max reps. You basically train to failure. And of course, you won't be able to do as many reps, but that's not the point. And then you drop the weight again and you do 20 to 15 seconds rest, pick up the weight again. And until you do 4 sets, so the first set, more reps, and then you do these 20-second rests, and they'll both get you like the close to failure, but also the volume. And that has really worked great for me on forearms, traps, shoulders as well. So try it out, it's really great. But if you want to do the low volume, I've often used pyramid training, which basically means that you gotta think, you're gonna train like a pyramid. So you begin at the top with the heaviest weight and the fewest reps. So for example, if you want to do dips, I begin with 40 kilograms, 4 to 6 repetitions. When I'm done with that, I take a good amount of rest, 2 to 5 minutes, as much as I need. And then I do a second set with less weight, for example, 25 kilograms, and do more reps, for example, 10 to 12. And on both of these sets, I really try to get as many reps as possible. And you just make basically a pyramid. You can do multiple sets as well. But I would say if you're training this hard, if you're doing pyramid training, don't do more than 3 sets. Don't part the pyramid more than 2 times, so you have 3 columns. So 2 to 3 sets is optimal. And begin with the heaviest, least amount of reps, then a little lighter, more reps, and then a little lighter, even more reps. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section and have a freaking good one.